Hey guys, today we're talking about the lack of promotion and relegation in the United States soccer ecosystem and how that directly impacts your son or daughter's youth soccer experience. So let's go. This is the second installment on a series that I'm doing looking at issues in American youth soccer. The first video was on pay to play, and pay to play is really a symptom of the disease that is a lack of promotion and relegation.
Promotion and relegation is a process by which teams move up or down a soccer pyramid based on performance of that particular season. The teams finishing at the top of the league are promoted to either a higher league, or they're rewarded if they're already in the highest division, typically with an invitation to a prestigious international tournament or other rewards. So in England, for example, if you finish at the top of the championship, you are promoted to the Premier League. Similarly, if you finish to the top of League One, you go to the championship, and so on and so forth.
Promotion to a higher division comes with more money, more fame, more prestige, more rewards. This allows clubs to grow, to purchase more players, improve their facilities, and in general have an advantage over teams in lower divisions.
According to Yahoo Sports, the value of being promoted from the Championship in England to the Premier League is almost $210 million. On the other hand, teams finishing at the bottom of the league are relegated to the next lower division in the soccer pyramid. So in England, for example, teams finishing at the bottom of the Premier League are relegated to the Championship. Those finishing at the bottom of the Championship go to League One, and so on and so forth.
Getting relegated has significant consequences for clubs. The lower division brings in significantly less money for the club. This results in players leaving because of lower wage bills. They oftentimes have to let go of employees to come in under the new budget. They're not able to recruit as many good players. They're not able to upgrade their facilities. And in general, this can have a spiraling effect on the club.
The cost of relegation from the Premier League to the Championship alone has been estimated over $100 million per year, with one football finance expert suggesting that clubs lose 60% of their revenue in 1 year.
The bottom line is the club's first team performance in whatever league that they're in has huge financial implications throughout the entire club. Compare that to most American sports where your performance on the field doesn't really make a huge impact on how well the club or the team does financially. In fact, many times, if you finish dead last in the league, you're actually rewarded with a high draft pick.
Of the over 200 soccer leagues across the world, there are only a handful that don't have promotion relegation.
To first understand why there is no promotion and relegation in the United States, we have to take a little bit of a history lesson.
The first FIFA-sanctioned top-flight division in the United States was the North American Soccer League. It was founded in 1968, and despite bringing in several highly renowned international superstars, the league was never able to catch footing financially and collapsed in 1984. From 1985 to 1996, there was no FIFA-sanctioned first division soccer in the United States.
The Sentinel event that changed everything for professional soccer in the United States was the 1994 World Cup.
When FIFA chose the United States to host the 1994 World Cup, one requirement was to establish a FIFA-sanctioned first division in the United States. Hence, Major League Soccer was born. In 1996, Major League Soccer started with 10 teams. And given the backdrop of the failure of the North American Soccer League, it was structured to protect the financial security of the league. MLS was initially set up and currently operates today as what is known as a single entity corporate structure. What that means is MLS retains formal ownership of all franchises. The teams in MLS do not maintain economic autonomy or actually have individual owners. The league controls every player and every contract. In MLS, the clubs have what is known as investor operators instead of owners. Investor operators manage their teams as any other owner would, but share a percentage of the revenue and the expenditures with the entire league. This is vastly different than almost any other professional league, whether it be in the United States or elsewhere. MLS investor operators are investing in the success of the entire league, not their individual team. Just imagine Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys allowing the NFL home office to negotiate every single player contract. And while there is revenue sharing in the NFL when it comes to TV money and other advertisements, imagine Jerry Jones sharing concession stand revenue with all the other NFL owners.
So you can see that MLS was started under the idea that they weren't even sure if they could survive. And the entire structure is set up so the teams don't compete against one another. Now they've grown from 10 teams to 30, and there are certainly some arguments that promotion relegation could be done at this point. You wonder if it really can be because the entire structure of how the league operates is not to compete against each other. Promotion and relegation separates closed soccer economies from open soccer economies.
Without promotion and relegation and the non-competitive structure that is MLS, no team can actually play themselves into the league. So no matter how well a team from the USL Championship were to play, they can never make it to the top division in the United States. On the other hand, no matter how bad an MLS team were to play on the field, they will never get relegated to the USL Championship. One of the most glaring examples of this is in 2017 when MLS introduced the new expansion team Minnesota United. Despite the fact that they finished 5th in the second division just the year prior, they were allowed to join MLS because they first of all paid the expansion fee, but second were approved by MLS.
Promotion and relegation introduces the concept of sporting merit. What you do on the field means something. So the cream rises to the top. For example, if you are the best organization or the best coach in the second division, the third division, and you're winning games and you're successful, you're rewarded for that. This allows the practitioners doing the best work, the most successful academies, the most successful organizations to rise and be rewarded for that. Also, those organizations not doing a good job, those who are not very successful coaches, they go down. And you can clearly see that the competitive nature allows for the quality to go up versus a non-competitive environment where everybody shares in revenue and there isn't really a drive to be better.
Promotion and relegation operating in an open soccer ecosystem highly encourages outside investment. Investors know there's a potential huge return on investment if they invest or buy a club in a lower division and run it successfully to a higher division. Wrexham Football Club was purchased in 2021 by Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds for about $2 million. At that time, the club was in the National League and in 2 years is now in League Two. And while they've also spent a lot of money on upgrading the facilities and bringing in new players for more money, the club, as of September 2023, was valuated at $8 million. And it's not just one high-profile case. Of the 72 teams in the Premier League, Championship, League One, and League Two, 22 of them are either fully or minority owned by American investors. And 14 of those 22 happened since the Wrexham investment in 2021. In an open soccer ecosystem in the United States, just imagine how much investment might be made in smaller clubs looking to eventually get to MLS.
So I know what you're thinking. Rory, what does this possibly have to do with my son or daughter's club team?
Clubs around the world with first teams that are fighting for promotion and relegation tend to look at their youth teams as investments for the future. This puts a high emphasis on developing players not just for their first team, but also potentially to sell to other clubs. We've talked about this previously, but by setting a player up to be looked at as an investment to get your team, your first team promoted, or keep your first team from getting relegated, you now have an ecosystem of player development and player movement that changes the cost structure of the youth clubs. If you compare that to a club without a first team, without a drive to get promoted or not get relegated, really the motivation for developing players is continuing to get money from the parents because that's how the cost structure is set up.
This sets up a transactional relationship between the families and the club. So there's really no true clubs in the United States outside of a couple who have first teams. 99% of the clubs are just transactional relationships between parents and the club. Because once that player is done playing, the parents don't continue to support the club. Therefore, there's no loyalty, which is again why you see club hopping from team to team, always looking for the next best thing. And the same can be said for the club. The club is not loyal to the player. They're not investing in that player. They're not going to get anything out of that player other than money from the parents. So there's really nothing connecting the coaches, the administrators, the parents, the players. There's not a first team. There's not a goal of getting promoted or a goal of not getting relegated. Because everybody benefits from the club getting promoted. Even the youth teams, now they're in a higher youth league and a more prestigious youth league, and maybe they'll get recognized by a bigger club.
Furthermore, clubs operating in an open ecosystem with promotion and relegation have a very clear player pathway. They go from the youth team to the academy team, and if good enough, go to the first team. In this system, the best 15, 16, 17-year-old players in the club can potentially see first team professional minutes as a teenager. This dramatically changes the discussion about development and especially developing world-class players because you have teenagers with the opportunity to play professional if they're good enough. Contrast that to the maze that is youth soccer in the United States and what parents have to navigate on their own going from a youth team to an academy team to what league do you play in? Do you go to college? How do you get to college? Do you do ODP? It can become a total mess.
At the end of the day, the lack of promotion and relegation really hurts the youth soccer experience in the United States, in my opinion. I hope you liked that video, guys. Please comment. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about this, and we'll see you next time.